everyone. Welcome again to Jiu-Jitsu Live with Master 5-degree Black Belt Sami Al Jamal. How are you, Coach?
Habibi, I'm very good. Ahmad, always a pleasure to talk to you. Always a pleasure to share knowledge with you. Our conversations, they flow very nicely. I'm happy to be here again with you.
Thank you, Coach. It's an honor for me. Coach, today's episode is a fighter mindset and how to prepare a fighters to be ready for a competition.
Great, man. That's a
it's a huge subject, huh?
Huge. It's a huge subject. It's an important subject because it takes a long time for a fighter to mature and understand what the mindset is about fighting.
So, Coach, now, as we start, as the fighters came to the club as a white belt. So, as a white belt, also we need to be prepared them for a competition, just for getting an experience for a competition. So, what's the difference for you to prepare a new white belt for a competition and another advance like blue, purple belt to be ready for a competition?
First of all, I have to tell the white belt, okay, as he started to train and he understands his body and starts moving in a way that I feel like he can compete and he has a chance to do well in the competition. Doesn't matter if he wins or lose. Matters that he's going to do well in the competition and it's going to bump his life in jiu-jitsu as a competitor in a very early stage. So I tell him in the training, in the gym, he has to learn how to tap, because people don't understand that tapping doesn't mean that doesn't mean anything. That means that you're learning. It's a process of learning. But everybody in the beginning feels like this guy beat me, and I can't accept that. And then you add the Arab thing. لعيب شو عمل tap. I can't do a tap. And that's very important for us to understand that it's okay to tap, you know. And I always tell them, you always tap because you're going to tap between the white belt and the black belt 10,000 times if you train.
Yep.
So why are you going to hurt yourself not tapping? And tap as many times as you want. The next time you tap less. The next time you tap less. And if you tap like a black belt and a purple belt or a blue belt in a real hard training, and you continue tapping them, that means that the jiu-jitsu is not working. So don't expect to tap also the higher belts that often. Expect that they will tap you, and this part of the process is for you to learn what your limits of your body are as far as tapping. In the tournament, if you feel your like arms hurting and your leg on a straight foot log, you tap. And in the choke, if you want to pass out, it's up to you. You know, you want to pass out, it's up to you. But for me, you tap when you feel like you're in danger and you can't take it anymore.
I always tell the students, sorry, interrupting. Tap is an art.
Good one.
Tap is an art. You need to know when to tap. Tap today and just come train tomorrow. If you go hard in yourself and someone broke your arm, then you will not just come to the dojo like for a month or 2 months.
Exactly, and it's a very good point that you're saying that's an art, because it is an art. For you to accept and control your ego, and to be able to tap and still be happy. You can inside of you can want to do better because you tapped, but you have to accept it and move on to become a better fighter, you know. So the art of tapping is very complicated, Coach Ahmad. You know? So we have to start with the art of tapping. So let's say that this guy has been doing well in the gym. We feel like he can do well in the tournament, or for one reason or another, you feel like he has to compete in order to move into a stage of his life. You know, for example, I had a guy that last year is an ex-Marine, you know, very tough guy. close to 50 years old. He wants to fight in the adults, white belt, because he just started. I don't care if this guy wins or lose. What I care is for him to go to that tournament and learn from it.
And live the dream. Live the dream.
Live the dream. Live the whole thing.
Live
cutting weight, being ready, going to weigh himself, get his name called, going to the mats, facing a person.
First, the adrenaline, lactic acid in your arm after the fight.
Exactly. And he did very well. He won a fight and lost a fight. To me, it was a very good. He didn't get a gold medal, but I was very happy with his performance.
So, Coach, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so that's his limitation. So, to prepare the white belt to fight in a tournament is first and most important, man, go there and try to have fun. Come on, nobody listens to that.
Yeah.
But we want them to have fun but they have so many things in their mind, fight, cut weight. And all these process of getting ready for the fight, for us, we're seasoned fighters, it's easy. For them, everyone is a huge step. But also it's a huge step for them in their personal life to be able to conquer things. And somebody that comes out of a tournament, he's going to do better at work. He's going to do better with his family because the tournament humbles you.
And they will appreciate this. And if they continue in Jiu-Jitsu, they will appreciate that white belt experience in a fight, in a championships. They will appreciate it in an earlier stage if he reach purple or brown belt. All these early white belt fights, it will build his system or mental strength to continue in like a purple or brown belt stage.
Yeah, when he puts himself on the line on a tournament, it changes his life. And then when he builds himself and he becomes even better as a fighter and he becomes a higher belt, he thinks that, oh my God, I thought that was hard as a white belt. This is much harder, but at least he followed the steps, is very important also for somebody to fight on the white belt, because when they get to the purple belt, they went through all the steps and stages of competing. It makes it much easier. But if you go right away in the purple belt, most probably you're not going to do well.
Yeah. And always, Coach, even if the guys, like the new guys, 3 or 4 months, I try to push them in a nice way to go in a tournament just to at the sake of getting the experience of the tournament. And always, as a preparation for that tournament, I try to focus for those guys they're going to fight. I told them just do 1 or 2 techniques. I do a lot of a drill in a gym for 1 or 2 techniques, so that because if, as a white belt, and when he goes to the mat, he will be shocked. So that the things get repeated in the mats is the things that he's going to use on the fight.
Yeah, this is actually a very good style that I call it, progressive repetition with resistance. Progressive. So he doesn't have a game. So the idea is for him to be able to use the technique that he knows faster than the other guy can defend. So for a white belt, it's a very important point here, Ammar, because a white belt doesn't have all the tools to fight. He has his physical aptitudes, and he has a few moves that he knows how to do. So a very good way of a white belt getting good results in a tournament is for him to do this style of training, which is progressive resistance training, which is basically he does a move very many times, and then his partner starts defending at a resistance of 10%, and then 20%, and then 30%. Until he gets to 100%, for that person to put in his muscle memory the position so well, so when he goes into the tournament, he doesn't get shocked. Because a lot of people, I hear this is the most thing that I hear, that a white belt comes out of a tournament and goes, man, that guy was so strong. That guy was so strong. And everybody says that everybody's strong. It's not that he's strong, because at the gym, he's training at 70-80%. And he's doing the positions without resistance. And then he goes to the tournament, the guy is doing 120%.
Yeah, and the
and he's
adrenaline
resisting,
goes.
and he's trying to tap him out. So he
Yeah.
thinks that the guy is strong. In reality, the guy is not strong. In reality, is that there is a different type of resistance. So he has to train that type of resistance training in the gym and repeat it over and over and drill it until he feels comfortable with those 2 or 3 or 4 moves that he knows well. Don't, as a white belt, guys, this is a very good thing. Do not try to engulf everything. Just work on the things that you're good at and do them 1,000 times for you to be able to actually apply it in the tournament.
Yeah, I want to tell a story. Like once, when I opened my gym, I just focused on one. You know, for those guys, white belt guys, just grab the hands and the head, drag, go for guillotine. I think, coach, out of 10 white belt, 9 of them they go for it. I'm not saying all of them they got it, but because the things that they drilled at the gym, when they goes in the fight, that their muscles memory automatically it will goes without his thinking. It will goes to the technique that he is drilling it, so that it will be a gate between mind and muscles, and that gate itself, the mind will give the signal to the muscles goes, and without even a fighter recognize that he goes for a guillotine.
Absolutely. And I always say that, you know, in the white belt and blue belt division, it's okay. But in the higher belts, if you're thinking, you're too late in the tournament. You have to be able to implement your game. And the white belt has a very small window to implement his game. But if you keep doing those moves over and over in the gym, what happens is not only your mind and your muscles, but what's commanding your muscles is your central nervous system, and your central nervous system is commanded by your brain, but it doesn't send, you don't have to think and do it. It's an automatic reflex of what you trained and your body's used to it. And that's why the kids all hit or try to hit the guillotine.
Yeah. And one more point, coach. As a coaches, we always try to talk to the guys, like going to the mats with a plan. Don't go to the mats like I'm going to fight with Coach Sami. I just shake hands. Then in the mats, I'm going to pick up the technique, or I'm going to do a reaction for the action. I always tell the guys, even white, a blue, purple, brown, I told them just go for plan. Put in your mind before you enter, like 10 minutes before the fight, I'm good in like closing guard. I'm gonna go for sweep. If I didn't sweep, I will go for armbar. If he pass my guard, I will reset. So what about this? Is putting a plan in a fighter mind. I want to say that the fighter should put this plan in his mind and try to imagine it's happened in the fight before he entered the match. What do you think?
Yeah, so this is actually a technique that is used at very high levels, and for Olympic and professional players, it's called mentalizing. They mentalize the let's say the position and the success of the position over and over again, and that's kind of like meditating and creating a channel for you to succeed in the position. So what happens with the plan that you're creating in your head, your brain is working and thinking about the fight in itself. You're not thinking, because you can think about, for example, I'm gonna lose to that guy. He's better than me. I'm not gonna be able to do anything to that guy because he's better than me. Oh, there's no position that works for that guy because he's better than me. What happens is that in my mind, when I mentalize all these things, all this pollution goes out of my head, and I focus on the fighting itself. So it's a very, very effective technique, and it's a technique that all the high level players and coaches apply to their fighters.
So we can apply this technique with the guys from like advanced white or blue, purple, brown, and black. All the fighters, they should have this plan before they enter the match, right?
Everybody should. This is a technique. Olympic fighters, Olympic athletes, they use this technique all the time MMA fighters use this technique on all the time. As a white belt, if you start training it, because you're training your mind. So if you're by the time that you get to the black belt, you're going to be much better at it if you start at the black belt, because you went through the whole process. So what you train, your mind and your body the same way, but we forget to train the mind. And it's a very good point for people to understand that you have to train the mind, for the mind to guide the body, and for the body to be able to move in a way that you understands where it's going. Okay, I always say that if you're going to the mats for a tosha, you cannot last too much, you know. Now, if you go there and you have a strategy and a technical plan, and you're ahead of your opponent, you're always going to win, and you can do 5, 6 fights like people do in the World Championship. But if you do a tosha and you get into a fight, by the 3rd fight, you're done.
Yeah, you're right. And also, coach, if you have a plan and enter the mats, even if you plan, if your opponent surprises you with something, it doesn't matter. It's still, because your mind is thinking, your mind itself, it will discover a plan B for you to counter attack or to defend his attack.
Or your body's also going to move so naturally into where you want to be that he's not going to be able to implement what he wants to do to you. So it's always in that position, in that circumstance, when you train your mind so well, your body's going to follow, you know? Okay,
coach. Let's go for another subject, coach. I always also, from the little experience I have, I always tell the guys, you will do good in the tournaments when you're fighting in the tournaments. It's like a training at the gym.
Yes.
Relaxing, don't be nervous. This is what they call it, the edge between winning all the tournaments and doing well in the tournaments, or losing, and you're gonna keep losing. If you goes tense, then your mind is out. So I always tell the guys, and this has happened with me, I always tell the guy, just go easy in the tournament. If you consider the tournament, it's like a training at your gym. Forget all the guys outside. Forget your opponents. You know yourself. Consider yourself that this is your gym and you're training at your gym.
Yeah, very easy to say, very difficult to do for the fighters. You need experience going through that adrenaline rush, through all that new stuff, for you to be ready to train the same way and have the same performance that you have in the gym. And that's like a major problem for a majority of the fighters. So how do we get there? Okay, we said that, okay, train here like you train in the gym, but how do we get to do that? Okay, first of all, time on the mats and training with as many people as you can, you know, if you want to prepare to the tournament. Second of all, try to imitate the adrenaline that you have in the tournament while you are in the gym. So how do you do that? You ask your coach, can I go train at this gym tomorrow? And because that's going to be kind of like the same adrenaline. So yeah, man, go, don't hurt yourself. Be humble, tap when you feel, be respectful, but go train in this gym to feel the adrenaline of the tournament, you know? Third, and also very important, is the mental and the focus that you have, mentalizing the tournament itself from the beginning that you entered until somebody raised your hand, you know, for you to feel good. And even if the person doesn't raise your hand, you understand the concept for yourself, so you don't get nervous. Okay. And third, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You know, I always say that to my students. Not long ago, 60, 70 years ago, World War II, the guy would train 3 months. They would put a rifle to him, and he has to go on the beach where they're throwing bombs, and he has to survive. You get to after the tournament, you get to come home alive.
Exactly.
You know, in the Roman times, you would have to walk 300 kilometers carrying a heavy equipment, fight there, win that battle, and maybe die, and then go fight another battle. You don't know if you're gonna come back. You know, nowadays you go to the arena, AC, somebody organizing for you.
Asaye always there.
Acai, you know, party, social life, and you get to come back home alive and tell the story to your friends and family. So don't take it too hard. The last thing is find something like a moment that brings you peace, something that makes you
Bingo.
feel like you're in peace. Anna, myself, I feel like this. God gave me the health to compete for 30 years. I'm blessed,
Coach.
and I'm thankful for God giving me this gift. I should be always happy when I enter the mats to compete. So everybody has to find a place where they feel comfortable in walking into the mats.
For me, Coach, I found this peaceful moment when I was in a purple belt. In white, in white here, I think in UAE we didn't have a competitions because there just were a few guys, maybe maximum 6 or 7 guys training jiu-jitsu. And a blue belt start going in a local tournaments. But in that time, a blue belt, I win by strength. I didn't win by technique. I lost a lot, but when I win by strength. In a purple belt, I found this peaceful moment, which is I was teaching myself. You know, always the coach, he will teach you, but also yourself is the best coach for yourself. You know yourself more than everyone. So yes. I found this peaceful moment between Ammar and Ammar when I was in a purple belt in a tournament. I said, now I'm gonna win. That the story is I lost in a UAE from a guy. Then I was outside. I did a tournaments outside the country. He was heavier than me. He was a judo guy. I was like, oh, Banif. He took me maybe 12-0, 14-0. That's what I remember. And outside, then because we don't have a lot of fighters, they have like what they call it open weight category. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I'm gonna fight with this guy because for sure they're gonna put me with this guy because they want to sacrifice this guy. I lost from him like 3 months ago. Then now we do it. Then
easy win for them. For them, it's an easy win.
Yeah. But I was talking to myself first. I sat on a chair. I told Ammar, now you're gonna win. I was teaching myself. Then I went to my coaches. I told them I'm gonna win. One of them, coach, he looked at he opened his eyes. Like this, you know, he knew that I'm gonna lose. I entered the mat. I won 6-0. Half guard, take his back, half guard down. That because I was talking to myself, this peaceful edge, you know yourself, just go, relax, and I forget him. I forget my opponents. I don't know. He's like a shadow without faces, but I know Ammar. Then I went inside the mat, talking to Ammar, this is your moment, you're gonna win. And I end up winning 6-0, and I still remember the guy went outside crying because he knew that he's gonna destroy me. So that this is for all the guys. Talk to yourself, have this peaceful moment between yourself and relax relax your muscles, relax. The maximum is you're gonna lose. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly, Ammar, you brought a point that's very interesting and important. Is I think at that moment what happened to you is what people in the business of sports and athletes is that you entered the zone. It's yes. When the athlete is able to enter the zone, and that zone is for himself, and nobody can get into that zone. And whoever tries to break that zone is not able to break that zone. And that fighter feels unbeatable. And he feels that he can beat anyone in the world. Probably that day, you could have beaten anybody in the world. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the belt, or it doesn't matter the weight. It doesn't matter because you enter the zone. So we'll talk about this more with the higher belts. But the fighter from day one has to understand what it is to enter the zone and what the zone is. But at that moment you enter the zone, there's no way that guy in the world was going to beat you.
Exactly. I love it. Now, coach, if a guy, he reached an advanced belt, but still he didn't find this zone. He is good in a gym. He destroyed everyone in the gym. He's good. But in the tournaments, still he didn't find that peace point between himself and himself, or the zone that he is comfort zone for him. What we can do?
There's many guys that are very good fighters in the gym, but they're not good competitors. There's a huge difference between being a competitor and being a fighter in the gym. That's fine. But if you decide, even though you're not doing in the gym well, and you decide to be a competitor and you're not finding your zone, the search that you have to do, you know, is first sit and talk to your coach. Coach, this is happening to me. I'm not finding the zone. And I have fighters that have been looking for that for 6-8 years. They haven't found it. So don't get too
panic.
Myself, it took me 15 years to understand and walk in and perform and understand that I didn't perform well also because I didn't enter the zone properly. So it's very important for you to talk to your coach because he's been through that, you know. Second part is you need to find a place of peace. You have to find a place of peace. And third, you have to be in check with your ego. So how are you going to control your ego? Because ego at this moment right there is your worst enemy. It can help you in the gym that you don't want to lose, you want to fight, you want to be the best. But over there, this being scared of losing and not shooting out your positions in the tournament, that might work against you, especially in jiu-jitsu. So I think these components are the most important components.
Okay, coach. One more subject is sometimes a lot of guys, they came from another martial arts, like maybe Muay Thai, maybe MMA, maybe wrestling. They enter the jiu-jitsu and still, like in the class, they're using the techniques that they have. It's give them the ability to beat the other guys at the gym. I always tell them, put yourself in a bad position in the gym. Don't go like if I'm strong, I'm tough, no one can take me down. I told them it's okay. No one will take you down. That's okay in the gym. But your adrenaline in the tournaments is different than here. You're gonna play with a guy. He doesn't know that who you are or what's your background. He will play like he's the guy. So I always advise and try to push the guys, even if they are blue or purple, put themselves in a bad position. Like if he's an MMA guy, go to the guard, fight at the gym in the guard. What's your philosophy in this terms?
My philosophy, the most important part of it is that the coach has to take control of this, because he's not going to know, he's not going to want to lose. He already put too much time in the other martial arts that he's doing. He feels like he's ahead of that guy for some reason. He's not going to learn, and he's not going to want to learn. Okay? So somehow you have to break him down and restructure himself. You know what I mean? So how do you break him down? Let's say the guy was a wrestler. Nobody can sweep him, and he can stay on top and win all the fights. And if the fight starts standing up, he probably can pass the guy's guard because the guy can't sweep him. So I put him to do guard only. You're going to do guard only.
Yep.
Why? Because like this, you're not going to grow. You're not here for the sport. If you're here to win, that's a different story. You go win in the tournament. You do this game in the tournament. Exactly. But now you're here to learn. You're here to be a fighter. And for that reason, I put him in the bad spots to learn the hard way how to become a good fighter. This guy here is my son Karim. He's a fighter. He trains twice.
Hello, Karim. How are you?
Twice a day.
Yeah, you're so handsome, boy.
Habibi.
Thank you. I love you, man. I know your dad since 1999, man.
See you.
Long time ago.
Habibi. Yalla, go, Karim. Anyways, you have to put these guys are there to learn a martial arts. They're not there to win. So if they're there to win, again, it goes back to the ego. They need to understand, even if they don't like it, they want to go to a different gym. It's not about you trying to make him look worse. It's actually you trying to make him learn martial arts and be better at it, you know? So that I put them in bad positions, and we try to maybe I think the best word for it's like a reboot, you know, like I call reboot a computer.
Yeah,
Keep that.
Fadal, coach, say it.
Yeah, you keep what he has good, but you work on things that he doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, because if you want to develop in jiu-jitsu, if you want to get another belt, you know, belts in jiu-jitsu, I think is different, coach. He has to know the techniques that suits this belt. So he has to know, and you cannot go to purple or brown belt without knowing, for example, the deriva guard, lasso. We forget jiu-jitsu terms because 3 months no training, coach.
Exactly.
So that's part of it, right?
It's a يعني jiu-jitsu. It's a sea of moves. Every day there's a different move, but the basics where they branch out to different good moves, the guy has to know. And that's why, for example, my school, many schools in the world, they test the student to understand his knowledge, because by the time that he gets to black belt, he understands well the concept of all guards, all attacks, all half guards. He might not use it, but at least he has to know how to teach.
Yeah, exactly. Type, coach, another subject is when I opened that. Once I had an accident in the gym. One of the guys, 2 guys, they came. One of them purple belt. One of them is he's wearing a white belt. Okay, from the technique, I told him. I saw that his technique, the way he's doing his technique, I told him, sorry, you are not a white belt. He said, yeah, I'm a purple belt, but I didn't find, I came for a visit, I don't have my belt. I told him, it's okay, stay with the white belt. One of my guys, he's a blue belt. His name is Mike. For sure he's gonna watch this episode. I told him, just go fight with Mike. Mike is a blue belt, and the other guy is a undercover purple belt. Though they fought in the class I was watching, and this guy, a purple belt guy, he couldn't pass the blue belt guard, and even the blue belt, it almost swept the purple belt guy. Then at the end of the class, I told him, you know what's the belt of this guy? He said, yeah, white. I told him, no, man, he's a purple belt. You are a blue belt. He's a purple belt. But because of that, this is a question. You didn't think about the belts, about his belt, because he's wearing a white belt. You knew what you have, and you applied the techniques what you have, that you have, without seeing that your opponent belt color.
That's a very good example. You know, you just put into action a very good example of how psychologically we are completely like turned into what we see. So, you know, like the same way that he saw the white belt, he was able to use all his techniques. Sometimes you see a guy that's weak, well, here can you push yourself harder? But you see a guy that's strong and big, and you don't push yourself hard. So all these things are things that are you have to be able to know how to block it, to be able to apply your game or to apply your jiu-jitsu. You just go out there and it takes time. It's not today or tomorrow, but you have to work on it from day one.
But it's advice for all the jiu-jitsu participants. You know yourself, believe in yourself, no matter what is the name or the belt for the guy. He is like next to you. You're gonna fight with him. Even it's in the gym. We start with it at the gym, and the fine product you will find it at the mat. So the advice is don't. That's my advice, and don't care about the other guy's belt. You know yourself. You believe in yourself. Just try to do the techniques that you know and take the action always.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Try to do your technique. If you do your technique over and over as a white belt, you might even tap out a black belt because you've done that position so many times more than that black belt that if you catch him, you know where to go, you know the angles, you know if he does this, what you have to do. Yeah, you're experienced on that technique. So yeah, go for it. And for him is a different different set of rules. He wants to develop his game with you and put himself in danger for you to try to attack and finish him. For you is for you to try to use your technique the best way you can. And both parties have to be happy with the end result, whatever that happens.
Okay, now, Coach, everyone enter the match or they want to go to the tournaments, they want to be a champion. That's for sure. They want to win all the tournaments. That's a human, natural needs. No one wants to lose.
Yes.
But if you want to be a champion, as you always, I took this word, by the way, from you. If you want to be a champion, you have to train like a champion.
Exactly.
So what's your advice for those guys? Like, he want to be a champion, the world champion, has a training 3 days a week or 4 days a week, a class, and he left the gym.
You're not going to be a champion.
Easy.
The minimum, you have to enter the mats, okay, with the same training, same diet, similar body to the person that's going to fight in front of you. So if that guy trains 3 times a day and you train 3 times a week, don't expect to win because the guy has at least, I don't know, many times over the times on the mat that you have. He has been experienced and exposed to much more moves than you have. So you can't expect that to become a champion there. Second, it's important for you to understand that you cannot go there under and expect over, because everybody's looking for that one medal in your weight class. There's only one gold medal.
Nice.
Everybody wants the same. I can't expect for me to be under training, under physical training, and not taking care of my diet and my recovery and expect to win. But when you do all that, I did a proper diet. I did a proper weight and conditioning training. I did proper training of jiu-jitsu in the gym. Even if I lose, I know where I am and I can adjust it for the next tournament. They have to understand that this is a journey and it's not a journey for tourists. I call these guys that go to tournaments like this, they want to be tourists. You're coming in as a tourist. You're not. If you're coming in as a tourist, go there, have fun, and leave. If you want to be a champion, and those are the things that we talked about this before. You want to be a champion, and you're ready to change your belt. It didn't win the tournament. You're going to stay in that belt because the next belt is going to be harder for you.
Yeah.
So you have to stay in that belt until you win the tournament. That's how Carson Gracie used to do and built the strongest jiu-jitsu team in the world.
Yeah, what you give is what you're gonna get.
There's no the most democratic area in the world is that mat where you fight in the tournament.
Yep, that's nice.
It doesn't care about your race, your religion, how much money you have, what problems you have in the house, what problems you have in the business. It only cares of your performance.
Yeah. Okay, Coach. Also, the point is, for example, like Coach Sami, his technique. You know, each fighter has a style.
Mm-hmm.
So the advice is for the guys. The coach, he will tell you what this is. You're a half guard guy, so that you need to drill and to focus in the strength that you have and always develop it. Don't just say that, okay, I'm good in half guard, so that I will stop training half guard. I will go to train like to focus in a new like passing the guard. So what's your advice in this point for the guys? For example, anyone is good in guard, so he has to stop, or he has always to develop and be good, more good until he reach the perfection part of the techniques that he knows.
That's a very good question. It's a one podcast. Okay, so first of all, let's say, for example, you're known for your half guard, and you're able to know where you are at your half guard. So the person in your gym,
Me and Lama.
everybody in your gym,
Me and Lama, right? I
yeah,
can
you're
do that.
Lama, you're Lama. Everybody in your gym has to know the half guard well.
Yeah.
Okay, if they choose that game to be their game, that's a different story. So let's say, but everybody in your gym, just as an honor point, has to know very well the half guard and the transitions that you have in the half guard. So every person has to know well the game of their coaches or their schools. That's something that it's a must. You know, you're coming from an origin. You know, you have to know how to do that perfect. The second part is, okay, like I'm good at guard, like you said. You never let go of something that you're good at and you go train something else. So what you do is you continue working on the things that you're good at, and you continue working on the base that comes naturally to you, and you find every position from that position, and you grow your game coming like it branches out from that game. Don't it's fine for you to explore. If you're a guard, it's fine for you to explore something completely out of the box. But you explore that, and you continue working on your base game. Like that, your story in jiu-jitsu is going to be much easier and much fast. You're going to become better much faster. I learned this the hard way, you know. Like I was very good at X guard. Nobody used to do X guard. I used to sweep everybody in X guard in the tournaments. I went to venture into something else. I lost the timing of the X guard. I knew the moves, but I lost the timing, and I didn't go to the other position. So always create a strong base from where you feel more comfortable and feel more natural.
You have to practice this strong base that you have. You have to keep practicing
every day. Doesn't matter what you do. This has to be your full
signature.
Full hummus.
Oh, I love full hummus, coach.
Yeah, and you have to eat it every day to be able to stay strong, and something that you can do it every day. The rest is just adding. It's like the salt, you know, the maleh, the pepper, the bread. Everything else is just an addition.
I love it, coach. So, do you have any things from your side now to talk about the mindset or the coaching and this subject? Do you have any advice from like a fifth degree black belts in the Arab region for all Arabs and non-Arab who they are in the Middle East region?
So, like for example, you know, for example, me as a coach and as a competitor, I read a lot. And I maybe I can send you some links of coaching books and the mindset of coaching and coaching for performance fighters and athletes, and I learned something that's very important. You might reach that point at one point, okay, but at the same time you might not reach that point, because it's like a huge world. It's a huge world, and it's something that's very difficult for you to find the way. It's like a dark room that you have to find the door, and there's like 1,000 doors, so you don't know where you're gonna find the right door. So the thing is that if you have a coach and you have a guide, why not use it? You know, you have to use that, and if you use that, your route is going to be much faster.
Nice, because the coach, he gives you the experience from all these years and like in a gold plates, without even getting all this experience. That he give it to you, all his experience in a gold plate for you. Maybe this information, it will reduce the time you want to reach your goal.
Of course, your coach has been in that dark room, but you think that he hasn't. But he has been in that dark room. So if he doesn't know the door that you want to open, at least he's going to tell you how to open the door. You know,
Perfect,
so
coach.
that guy has been through a lot. He's been through many weight loss situations, has been through very difficult competitions, has failed. The failure, this is an important point, the failure of your coach is gonna build a step for your success.
Nice. I love it. I
You
love it,
know,
coach.
because he is
Well
gonna
said.
tell you, man, don't do this. You know, don't eat the bread with the full and hummus before the tournament, but you can eat the full and hummus.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not gonna lose weight.
Yeah.
So there's many aspects of the life of the jiu-jitsu guy that he can help you a lot, which saying like you tap. So he can help you get into a mindset, and he can understand what the fear is, because there's nothing like somebody that's not scared in a tournament.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
sure.
why you're scared or not scared. It's how you control and how you deal with the fear, and how to use it to your advantage. And I said that in a very short period of time, but it takes years for you to master that.
Well said,
So
coach.
the mindset of a fighter is the detail that's going to make him win or lose. There isn't somebody that doesn't have a mindset or doesn't enter the zone that is a champion or stays a champion for a long time. You know, and it's very difficult for you to be in that position and maintain that position for a long period of time. So for you to reach the mindset, and for you to it has to be exactly like walking, like sleeping, like taking a shower, like eating. It has to be an everyday exercise. Some days you don't want to do it. I don't want to do my mindset. I don't want to work my thing. I don't want to imagine and mentalize my fighting. Fine. But the next day you go back to it and you do it.
This is the only way.
This is the only way. And it's the hard way.
This is the hard way. But you know, at the end, it's there's a good taste for that way. You know, all this, you look back to all this journey, you will feel, even if it's between yourself and yourself, you'll be proud. You will be happy in ups and downs that you have in your life. You will be happy to the memories, to the experience that it gives you the guidance, the lights for the future life, for the normal that you have to have.
Absolutely, Ani. Jiu-jitsu is a lifestyle, okay? And at the same time, I always compare jiu-jitsu to Islam. In what sense? You're taking God's gift to you, which is your body, and you're making it better in a healthy way, you know? And through that, in Islam, you have the reading and the meditation and the prayer and the movement of the body. You have the same thing with the jiu-jitsu. You know, you have the part that you have to meditate, the part that you're rolling, the part that you're training, the part that you're learning, the same way that you read the Quran. So it's something very similar, you know. So it is also sacred, you know. Jiu-jitsu, it's a sacred journey because it improves you in everything. Improves you as a person, improves you as a fighter, improves you as a family member, and improves you in your day-to-day life, you know. I always say that, you know, I walk into my son's class room in the school, and the head coach of the school said the same thing to me. He's a great person that I admire a lot. He goes, when I walk into a gym, I can tell, when I walk into the school, actually, sorry, I can tell who is the jiu-jitsu fighter and who is not the jiu-jitsu fighter from the kids.
Nice.
And those are 10, 11-year-old kids. So it changes in a very early age, and it changes you for life, and you can stay training for life. So the mindset's not only for competition, it's for your day-to-day life. When you win a battle a day in the mats in your gym, the next day you're so up and you're so high on that win that it makes your day better.
Well said, Coach. Well said. Thank you for this lovely talks. To be honest, you know,
Habibi,
I
it's my pleasure.
appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Coach. At the end, guys, I hope that you will enjoy this episode. Before you leave, please subscribe in my channel and share it with your friends. Thank you.